Hi, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Carolyn, and this is a viewer's request. Let's get started. Today we're making peach cobbler. This is the viewer's request, just to show you that we are listening to your comments and we read them, and I get quite a kick out of all your comments. But the peach cobbler, we're going to go ahead and make it for you. Now, I am not trying to rival anybody's grandmother's recipe. This is just one that I try to make and keep it simple because I'm not a baker. It has never been my claim to fame. And this is something easy that I can do. And if you can follow these instructions, you'll get your peach cobbler going. So this is a number 10 can of peaches. That is the big one that you would find at the warehouse stores, the nice size can. Drained. And when you finish, when you finish draining, it's about 9 cups of sliced peaches. I'm just going to put these in a pot. There. Okay, I'm going to turn them on to about medium-high heat. So I'm going to heat everything up. I like to heat everything up, one, so I can get all the ingredients meld together really good. I can see the thickness, and then I can also see how it's going to taste before I even put it in the oven. So that's just me. The next thing I'm going to add is 3 cups of sugar. Now you'll see as the recipe goes along why we add so much sugar, but as you can see, this is our reserve juice that we're saving to the side. So let's add our sugar, 3 cups. And that's going to give the peaches a nice juicy texture, nice sweet texture and flavor. Get them going over this high heat. All right. Now, next thing we're going to add is some cinnamon and nutmeg and lemon juice. Lemon juice is 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And then I have the cinnamon and nutmeg. The nutmeg is about 1/8 teaspoon. Some of you, I know, like it more or less. And here is the cinnamon, 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now, what I need to do next is measure out 2 cups of the peach juice. I'm going to measure it out in this 2-cup measure. Now, I just want you to notice, this is a wet measure and this is a dry measure. So there is a difference. So if you're a beginning cook, make sure if you're baking and you know the recipes call for a wet measure, this is your wet measure and this is a dry measure. So I'm just going to pour this in here to make sure that I have 2 cups of reserve peach juice from the can. Okay. All right, that's about it. And I'm going to pour 1.5 cups right into the pot. You'll see what I do with the other 1/2 cup in just a second. About a 1/2 cup or so. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of thickener, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And what I do is just make a slurry, what we call a slurry. Put this in here. And I'm just going to whisk it up. Okay? That way you don't have lumps of cornstarch right in your peach filling. All right, nice and smooth. And then I'm going to stir that right in. Okay. Sugar is all melted. Here we go. Put this aside. Okay. All right, and then also we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Okay, see, we can stir that in. And lastly, we're going to add 1 stick of melted butter. So pour that in here. If you guys could hear my heart pumping right now, I'm so not a baker. But I'm willing to attack this. This is okay. If I can get through this, I'll be good. You really won't know how thick this sauce or the juice in the peach cobbler is going to be until it comes up to a boil. Okay, and then that's when you'll know what the actual thickness of the sauce is going to be. So we're just going to let that come up to a boil. It takes about 5 or 6 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to go over here to our dough. And this is, once again, that store-bought dough. And I had a question about the dough. I believe somebody asked. This is a store-bought pie crust that you get in the refrigerated section, and they usually come 2 in a box. So it'll say right on the box, rolled pie crust. So it comes like this, and you get 2, and we're going to use 1.5 in this recipe. I already used the other half for the inside of the peach cobbler, making the little dumplings that you have right in the middle. And what I do with mine is I cook them just a little bit, because I have a thing about running into the raw dough in the middle of the peach cobbler. Now for some, that may be good. You like that. All you have to do is just cut up the dough and put it right in the hot peach cobbler filling once we put it in the pan. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm just going to unroll this dough. Okay, really easy. And then this is the dough that's going to go right over the peach filling. Okay, so let's check on our peaches again. So our peaches have come up to a nice boil. Okay, and all I'm going to do is scoop about 7 cups, because remember, this is a full pan, or 2 of these I should say. This is a half pan, or you can make the full pan. So I'm going to scoop about 7 cups of the juice and the peaches into this half pan here. And by all means, if you wanted to make both pans and just, you know, not bake them off immediately, you could. Now what I did was take one of those pie crusts, and I cut it in half, and I put the other half away in the refrigerator. I cut up the other half into cubes, and I baked them in the oven, 375 degrees for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm just going to push these down into the peach cobbler so that you'll have nice crisp pieces of crust. And one of the things about peach cobbler people like the most is the crust. So I cooked that a little bit so you don't have the raw pieces of dough. That's just my particular taste. If you like it a little bit more chewy, then by all means don't cook it at all, or you could just cook it very little bit, 1 or 2 minutes. All right, because what it's going to do is get down in here, and it's going to soak up some of this juice, have plenty of crust on top and inside. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the pie crust and lay it over the top like so. All right, and then any excess is kind of overlapping. I'm going to cut it and finish by covering these little exposed corners right here. Let me show you how I did it. Did it like this, and then cut it in half, and then I just covered up the little corners right here. Okay, and this is just a beaten egg with a little bit of water. All right, just give it a brush. It's going to help give it a nice shine, help it crisp up and turn brown. Okay. Preheat your oven for 375 degrees, and you're going to bake it for 40 minutes. And I'm just going to sprinkle some raw sugar, maybe about a tablespoon or so. This is where you can have a little bit of freedom of how much you want of raw sugar. And I like it because it adds a little bit of a crunch when you bite into it. It's those large granules of sugar. Okay, so let's go to our oven. Top rack for 40 minutes. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Oh, nice and brown, crisp crust. Let's see here. Okay, hear that, huh? I actually did okay. Now, if you can see this inside, nice and juicy. It's not too stiff. Just the right consistency to hold your ice cream when you scoop some on top. All right, let me give this crust and some of these peaches a taste. Get all in one bite. The peaches and the filling is not too sweet. The crust is so crispy and not soggy. So I hope you give this recipe a try. Thanks for joining me. Go to Facebook and like us at Cooking with Carolyn, and go to gdseasoning.com and get your seasoning today. Thank you so much.